Here we go. Let's do this.
We've got one life, one shot. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? Addicted to Betterment, a podcast to inspire us to keep going, to try something new, to dream, to think big, bigger, to overcome. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
So, Tommy, we're back. One of the last things you said to me was that you discovered when you were 15, you were passionate about fitness. So, didn't see us going down this path on Addicted to Betterment, but I got to take a minute and uncover a little bit of this about you. So, Tommy, I got to share with our friends, you're 86. You look like you're 56. I'm a little jealous about that. And I know how important fitness is to you. And you have mentioned multiple times when you talk about fitness, it's not necessarily always talking about the body and weight and the size and shape of your body. That is certainly part of it. But when you refer to fitness, you refer to our mind, our body, our spirit, our emotions, the heart, all of those things. So unpack a little bit for me right now what fitness means to you and how you got so passionate about fitness of all kinds.
Favorite topic of mine. Fitness, I think of well-being and fit in my total being. That's all the aspects of my life. Very early, I was introduced to a program called three-dimensional coaching, 3D coaching. It's a whole thing that I'm certified in. But it says that every individual, to be the authentic, total fit person, 3 areas are involved. Number 1 is your hands. That is my physical part. That is my body. That's the skills. That's the techniques. That is the doing part. That's action. The second part is the mental part between my ears, my mindset, my attitude. How am I thinking to develop total fitness? The third step is my heart. That's the spiritual and the soul of me as an individual. That's my sense of purpose, my sense of values, my character development, my spiritual growth. Fitness to me hits all 3 of those areas, but it hits spiritual, mental, physical, relationships, and also definitely how am I developing myself to be fit in my work? That's back to the hands again. What skills am I learning? Am I learning to coach and not just lead? How am I learning those things? So it's very, very important that the holistic approach toward fitness is taken. And I admire people, and that's where I started with the physical part, but I saw the need to move into these other areas because the mind, body, spirit are like this. They're connected. So I hope that shares a little bit about why I think that fitness is such a value and such an important part.
That's good. Thank you. So when you describe the mind, body, and heart and being in that, let's talk briefly about how those tie together because people that listen to Addicted to Betterment hear us refer to the life wheel. I think that Nikki actually got that from you years ago, if I'm not mistaken. We use that very intentionally in our relationship. We actually have scheduled nights that we sit down and revisit our life wheel. And if you're not familiar with the life wheel, for us, the life wheel basically draw a circle, divide it up into spokes. And so for us, we have about 8 areas of our life that make up the life wheel. And if you think of a wheel on your car as you're driving down the road, think about how if something in that wheel is out of whack, you can drive the nicest car on the planet. I love the car that I drive, and I live on the north side of Indianapolis. And there was a period of time where I felt like I was driving in a third world country. The roads were awful, and I was constantly hitting a pothole and damaging something on my wheel. And one thing I can tell you is when I would damage, I would crack a rim or I would put a knot on my tire or whatever it was, it significantly changed the ride of my car. It doesn't matter how good the air conditioner is working. It doesn't matter how beautiful the interior is, how clean, how spotless. Doesn't matter if I just went through the car wash. That ride is not great. I'm driving down the road. My drink is just vibrating next to me. People who might happen to be in my passenger seat, I can see them. It's vibrating and it's uncomfortable. Everything is out of whack if one area of your life wheel is out of whack. So it's important. And I love how you tie that all together in well-being. So help me understand how you coach holistically and how you help people like me to develop holistically fitness and well-being.
The first step is to explain the 3-dimensional model so that they understand I'm more than just physical. That's physical fitness, very important. But I also understand that I've got a mind that's probably not even being touched. Some people think, most people rather die than think. So that's the mental. Am I becoming more fit mentally? And then the third is the heart of the individual. That's the soul of the individual. That's the spirit of the individual. Now, a lot of people say that's just your religious, spiritual belief. Yes, more than that. It's a higher power, but the higher power speaks around some things we cover in a sense of purpose. Why am I here? What the good Lord put me on earth? Those kind of things are very critical that we get to that aspect in teaching this overall concept of being holistic in our approach to development of an individual. So I help them see that. Then we go through exactly what you were talking about, David. We use the wheel of life, and they'll see, hey, that wheel, we don't really flat spots on there. I am so up to nearly a 9 or a 10 over here, but over here I'm a 4. Take a look at your life holistically. Pick those areas that are areas for improvement and go to work on them. Build your strengths, work on your shortcomings, get it up there. So you hit it exactly the way I approach on getting that holistic approach to my life. I don't care whether you're coaching an athlete or you're a CEO coaching one of your top leaders in your organization. You got to look at them holistically, not just how much performance and product that they can put out for you.
So I'm curious, Tommy, I want to just dive into this for 1 second. So if I'm looking at fitness, Nikki and I recently went on this health journey and we both got more fit than we've been in years. We lost weight. We made exercise and fitness and nutrition such a key part of our lives. And it always has been, but it changes at what level on and off. But we went on this journey. We recognized we both had these big goals that we set out for ourselves and we achieved them. And we're very happy about that. But fitness is easy to measure because I can tell you, hey, Tommy, I lost X amount of pounds. And so I can celebrate that. I can tell my friends, I can text one of my friends who is the one friend that I share a little weightlifting, fitness talk, and nutrition and supplements, and I'll share that discussion with him. So I'll text him and say, hey, I lost X amount of pounds, or hey, I'm thinking about starting this supplement, or I'm considering doing this. What are your thoughts? And we'll talk through that. But health fitness is easy to measure. Often, I'm curious, how do we measure mental fitness? How do we measure spiritual fitness? How do we measure if our heart, our emotions, how do we measure fitness in that?
Yes. And everything needs a measurement. We know that if I don't know where I am, I can share with you my fitness books going back 4 and 5 years. I capture every trip to the gym. How long was I there? When did I get there? What were my steps? How long did I spend? What exercise did I use? How much did I lift? I've got it because I measure it. And that's the only way I can see visually how I'm moving. But we can also do that with our mental. We can do that with our spiritual. We can do that with our relationships, but it is not something external that I can write down every time. So here's the reason that I wrote the book, Pursuit of Excellence. You're looking at your growth. It's not hitting the goal that's important. It's what you become on the way to the goal. That's the most important thing. And people don't understand that because they hit the goal. I'm now lifting 350 and that was my goal. Are you going to stop there? How have you grown during that period of time getting there? Discipline, getting in the gym, consistency, increasing my rate, Kaizen, constant improvement. So the growth that you make is more important than the goal that you hit. And you got to measure attitude. What am I becoming? What are my actions that indicate that I am becoming more in this area of my life? And it's kind of an intangible thing, but you will understand it. And the people around you will give you the feedback. You just got a heck of a lot more joy. You have a growth mindset. I love to see that. So you're growing. People around you will see that growth that you're making. So you measure the growth rather than the goal.
That is so good. I actually had never really seen it like that. Basically, you're simplifying it as just make sure you're getting better than you were yesterday. Judging yourself not by what you're not, but by what you were. And are you better? Thank you for helping me understand how to measure that. So let's talk real quick about holistic fitness. So now we've identified how to measure spiritual fitness, mental fitness, emotional fitness, well being. As you said, what's some tips you would give me to work on those? For me, it's easy because I've lived in the fitness and health nutrition world for a very long time, and it's something I'm passionate about. So I know if I want to improve my health, I'm going to change my workout a little bit and I'm going to add this or tweak this. And I know the steps that I'm going to take. I'm probably going to back off the sugar or maybe not have that second cocktail or any cocktail or whatever it might be. I know the things that I need to change. Give me some tips when I'm looking at how to get more fit spiritually, mentally. What's some steps I can take to start that process to start getting more fit?
All right, you would take them all, but you take them one at a time. For example, I want to become more fit spiritually. To be able to do that, I need to have an objective, a goal, a target. We don't hit anything without a target. I know where I want to be by the end of this year or by the end of next year. So I've got to establish a target. People will respond to a goal. I've got to know what that is first. I can take my spiritual life. I need to be stronger in my prayer life. My attendance at church, my other things, or my Bible study and all of that, it's not perfect, certainly not, but I need to be stronger. So I pick that area in my spiritual life that I need to focus on. Then I take that and know that I can't reach that unless I take some action. What I do is schedule in my morning time, prayer time. I schedule in my evening, every meal, prayer time. So I become intentional about making that a part of my life. Here's the area I want to improve, mental, physical, whatever it is, in this holistic approach. Then I establish the goals that will give me the growth that I need to reach that. And I can do the same thing with mental. I'm teaching a workshop next week on mindset. And I establish in that workshop, here's the steps you need to do to really make your mind well and make it strong and have a strong mindset. And there's steps to take there.
I'm going to ask a little teaser question. Share with us what those steps are that we can take for our mental fitness and well being.
It starts with, what am I focusing on? What is my focus? We have choices. We can choose our thoughts. So if I'm going to develop myself mentally, I've got to choose the positive, uplifting, optimistic thoughts that's going to move and build my mental capacity to be able to achieve the kind of things that I want to achieve and be as good as I can be. So it starts with focus. Concentration is a part of that. Then I've got to spend that time working on my mind to make sure I recognize the thoughts that are taking me in the wrong way. I do a concept called the courage wolf or the fear wolf, because we have 85 to 100,000 thoughts coming at us all the time. Some are more important than the others, but the challenge is such a high percentage of those, David, are negative thoughts. I've got to be self-aware. That's another step in that mental of what's my thinking process. That is a negative thought process I'm planning in the fear wolf up here that's taking me in the wrong direction. I've got to make the adjustment on that. I've got to recognize it. I've got to cancel it out, and I've got to replace it with a positive. And that's a mental training process. Athletes know how to use it. Many people in the business world can do that, but it's training the mental to be as strong as it can be. And there are other steps, what I call self-talk, guided imagery, see the picture I want to see. Those are mental concepts that people say, oh, that's woo-woo stuff. No, it's not. It's the way we get to be the best we can be in that mind, which affects everything that we do.
You said something very critical there that I hope every single person really grasp onto. It really stuck with me. You said all the top performers use that technique. So the top CEOs, the top athletes, I'm always enjoying studying the GOATs, the greatest of all times. And you're absolutely right. Whether it's Steve Jobs in business or Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan in sport, all the top CEOs, they all used this technique, mental fitness and well-being, and being intentional about that. It's not something that happens accidentally. And it's interesting if we can help some people who are just maybe not aware of how to do that effectively. Think of how that would elevate a normal person's life who is struggling with those 85,000 thoughts per day that you just mentioned. And some of those feel like they're all in our brain at one moment sometimes. How to navigate those and keep your mind healthy and strong and focused in the right place. Imagine how that would elevate every single person's life. Because I'm thinking right now as we're talking, 99% of the people are probably struggling mentally with something. There's an area or areas of your life that are in your head. They're taking up a lot of headspace. I have them right now while I'm sitting here talking to you, Tommy. I have things in my life in areas that are just taking up a lot of headspace. And I'm sure that every single person can relate to that. And I'm thinking, as you were just talking to me, of how I can approach this one area of my life differently. I have all these thoughts and I see this situation a certain way. And suddenly I'm thinking, if I can take this coaching and apply it to this negative situation, cancel those negative thoughts out, do the exercise to keep my mind more fit, my well being at a better place. If I can do that exercise, that will change how I navigate this situation, how much headspace it takes up for me. It affects every area of my life. So if I can get better at doing this fitness exercise for my brain, for my mind that you're just describing, if we can all get better at that, how much better that will make our whole life.
There's no finish line. We get better at that. But a lot of people are looking, as you said, for the how. How do I do that? I know I got negative thoughts. My thoughts are down here. They pull me down. So they're the skill, the fitness of my mind helps me to overcome those. As a part of this presentation, my subtitle is Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. If it's not giving me what I want in my thinking, then I got to change my thinking because that affects my emotions. My feelings affects my behavior, affects my results. And I can do that, but I need to know the how.
So, Tommy, do you have any practical techniques? If we were talking physical fitness and you're fit as a fiddle, you just at 86 years old, you look spectacularly fit. And I know if I asked you, Tommy, help me get better in the gym or to do my bench press better, to bench more weight, you would have some tips to help me do that. So, if someone like me is listening to this and, as you said, thinking, yes, I have all these negative thoughts around this thing and they're weighing me down, as you described. Do you have any practical techniques that someone can use that you use or you teach people to use? Just some practical techniques that they can implement today to say, hey, I'm going to stop these negative thoughts or I'm going to do my best to stop them or pause them and I'm going to turn them and focus on the positive. Do you have any practical techniques you use to do that?
You're exactly right. We all go through that. Becoming self-aware is the first thing. You train yourself to do that. I use a process. I use this on the field with athletes as well. It's called the diaphragmatic breathing process. I want to get into this from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic breathing. And when I do that, I relax. I'm not tight about that right now. I breathe up. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, hold for 2, and then I'll come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold for 2. I use the diaphragmatic. I teach it for an athlete. He makes a mistake on the field. He's got negative about that. I want him to clear his mind, get the emotions right. And then the next step I will teach in that process. Now, here's the key thing. And I've been into a lot of sports psychology, mental training, but that's a part of it. I see the opportunity in the challenge. Interesting concept. If I can look at the challenge, which is a bad, and look at it as an opportunity, I'm not thinking as I should, but here's the way that it could be. Here's the way that I can help it to be. Here's my self-talk. It's teaching that whole process. The unbeatable mind uses these concepts for the best, probably the special military group in the world. They use it going on the battlefield. Why can't we use it in the classroom? Why can't we use it in our work, in our business, in our leadership? I can use those same things, but I need to know what they are and then how I can use those. That's a long way around, but you're hitting on some passions that I love to talk about.
That's so good. Tommy, thank you. We talked a lot today about well being, fitness. Am I fit? And then we covered, am I spiritually fit? Am I mentally fit? Is my heart, emotions? What's my fitness there? Just some really great coaching today. And I'm thinking for anyone listening to this right now, whether you're on the treadmill, you're sitting on the couch, you're in the shower, maybe you're driving down the road, whatever it is, and you're thinking about those things in your life, the negative thoughts are there. I have them. Tommy, you just said you have them, which shocks me because I know your positive personality. And as you were talking, and I'm going to share this challenge with all of our friends, think of those things. Approach it with what Tommy just said. And I'm going to do this for myself. How can I change this? I am changing it. I am doing this. What is the opportunity in the challenge? Tommy, that was rich. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time today. I can't tell you how much you've helped me today.
Thank you. You stimulate me also. That's the way when you put two like minds together, but we both grow in the process. That's what a coach does. He coaches to help others, but he's helping himself become better in the process. So I appreciate that opportunity. And a couple things as we're going to wrap up today, I want you to think about for our next session. Number one, I want you to take away something that we worked on this session. And I think you just hit something because it's what you do that's so important, not just knowing it. The second thing that we're going to dig into next time, we go to the next step in the foundation, which to me is a very powerful one. That's my life purpose. Now, some people have a hard time picking up the umbrella. We were put on earth with purpose for a purpose. We're here for a reason. Now, what is that reason? We're going to dig deep into the life purpose and how a vision fits into that, seeing myself live that life vision in the future. It's going to be an interesting session, and I'm anxious to get back with you on that. So that's where we're going. You're right on track. Keep it up.
This is good. I'm ready. So you just listened to this episode. Now, join us in being addicted to betterment. Please subscribe to the show, share with your friends, tag us, and please take a moment, leave a review. Yeah, we do want your stars, but we really want the feedback.